Jai Hind, Jai Bharat, and welcome to Dev Talks. This is Aadi Achint. I have someone really special with me, guys. मेरे पास एक जो अभी हमारे साथ गेस्ट बैठे हैं, वेरी वेरी स्पेशल पर्सन. इनको फर्स्ट हैंड एक्सपीरियंस है जिन चीजों के बारे में वी टॉक अबाउट क्वाइट अ बिट, एंड दैट इज द पाकिस्तानी dirty deep state. He was part of a setup which actually was training him to be, you know what, and of course, he you know he faced जो भारत एंटी भारत सेंटिमेंट है पाकिस्तान के अंदर, फर्स्ट हैंड एक्सपीरियंस है. एंड इसके आगे मैं इनको ही अपने आप अपना छोटा सा इंट्रोडक्शन देने दूंगा, बिकॉज इट्स गोना बी अ फन शो. इट्स गोना बी समथिंग इंटरेस्टिंग एंड समथिंग दैट वी हैव नॉट हर्ड बिफोर. So hold on to your seats and hello, namaskar, and welcome to the show, Mr. Mohammed. Nice to have you with us.
Thank you very much, Mr. Aadi. It was really nice having you and me being here. It's an honor. And I want to say namaskar for good night, good evening, whoever is listening. Assalamu alaikum. And hopefully everyone is good.
All right. So, tell me one thing. Your life story, you sent me a small message. Instead of me just saying, आप ही बता दो यार आपका क्या लाइफ स्टोरी है. आप अफगानिस्तान से
ये
हो,
जो
क्या हुआ उसके बाद?
हम अफगानिस्तान से introduction since the audience may not know me. मैं पैदाइशी अफगानिस्तान से हूँ और छोटा सा था जब पाकिस्तान आ गए, रिफ्यूजी स्टेटस. और उसके बाद मैं जब स्कूलिंग के टाइम था तो हमारे पेरेंट्स ने उतना पैसा भी हमारे पास नहीं थे, यानी कि गरीब फैमिली से भी नहीं थे, तो मिडिल क्लास. तो जितना पैसा था अफगानिस्तान में उन्होंने लेके आया जो लेके आ सकते थे.
Just
और
speak a little louder, please.
हमको
Just speak a little louder, please, so that you know the volume is a little low. Just speak a
sure,
little louder.
sure. I do apologize. So yeah, when my parents decided to send me to school, the school that was available for us was madrasas. And madrasas are pretty much everybody goes. It could be average Pakistani, could be any religion. They will accept you, they will take you, they'll teach you. And then after a certain year, you go to the next stage of madrasa. And that's where different kind of thoughts and different kind of mentality comes in. With all respect to all the viewers, being in Pakistan as an Afghan is totally different being Pakistani in Pakistan, or being a tourist in Pakistan, or being any outsider. Being an Afghan means now you're an Afghan and you're a refugee, because being an Afghan in Pakistan could be very normal. You could pass as an average Pathan, Pashtun, Afghan, whatever. And there's a large number of ethnicities from our country or our countrymen in Afghanistan. So it's really normal to blend in. But when you're an Afghan and you're a refugee and you are in the madrasa, what they teach you? At first few stages, of course, everybody learns basic Quranic studies, the Hadith, the Hifz of Quran, from alphabets to writing. And slowly, as you age, as you get knowledgeable in Quran, they move you to different sections. And the section where it gets really scary as a foreigner, when we are foreigners, when we say these stories, we're like, oh my God, this is really terrible. It is when you are 15, 16, 17 years old. That's where it gets very scary, because now you are being introduced to different kind of people, and those people will do the brainwashing for. And it starts with Hindustan Hamara Dushman, India's our Dushman. The narrative that they present you can't even argue at the moment of time that you're there. And they would just look at you in the eye and say, Hindus Hamara Dushman. We need to convert all of India into Muslim, or slowly get to a point where they will say, we should destroy them if we can convert them. And that's where it gets scary. They don't talk about the internal problems. They don't teach you sirats or anything to do with tafsir of Quran. They go more into politics, and that's the age. So when you're 16, 17, 18, it gets really, really scary. Because rather than focusing on Quran, they focus on how to make an anti-Indian sentiment presented to you, and so that the brainwashing is completed. And then after that, then you get into different schooling, which is basically they will select and choose you, and then you get hired by whatever militia or company or organization that may be, and they'll pay you. And it's not something like new for me to say to people. It's in the media. I mean, I don't know if you remember 2 years ago. If you remember that guy, I think his name is Ali Babar. He got caught by Indian Army, and so he explained you a situation like that. If you listen to it, he will tell you how a friend named Anas got him, and how from that friend of his being introduced to another uh, individual, I think, I don't know whatever his name was, and then he goes to say that he got paid $20,000, and after that, sorry, 20,000 rupees. Apologize, 20,000 rupees, and after that, he became part of the Malaysia, and then came into Kashmir, Indian side, to do terrorist activities. The Indians need to understand that they have a lot of enemies. You have a lot of enemies. You have a lot at your hands, and when we talk about geopolitics and looking at it from very far picture, you look at India, you're looking at, let's say, 50, 60 years ago, people would look at India as a weak state. And now they're just eye opening, because you know what? China's out there, Russia's out there. There's a war going on right now, or some people like to call it genocide. And with all of that, and where is India standing? Where is India standing? And how we can make India fight, let's say, China, let's say fight in the Middle East, let's say get involved into Israel. These are some of the situations where knowledgeable Indians are aware of it. The educated Indians are aware what's going on in the world and geopolitics. I hope I'm not getting you bored.
No, I mean, you spent how many years? You spent 2 years in the Pakistani madrasa?
Uh, 2 years, yes. 1995, 1996, and 1997. We got out.
So what was that like?
So
I mean,
we got out.
how old were you at that time approximately?
When I got out, I was 14. When I got out, I was 14 years old.
You got out when so
And
you probably were at the beginning of this whole radicalization phase at that time.
I think it started before me. The radicalization of madrasas started in 1982. I think, from what I heard from my elder uncles, and it was kind of legit at that time, as what we call it, legit in a sense that there is a country and they have a philosophy, they have a different system, a communism, and they're invading your country, and then you have to defend your country. How are you going to defend? You need to educate the people from Deen, from Islam, from whatever tool you can use, so that you have a group of people who are willing to go and fight in Afghanistan.
You know, so basically at the time that you were there, they were probably training you for Afghanistan or Kashmir, one of the two. That's what would have been the future of your. I mean, people who were there with you in your classes. That would have been the future for them.
I think if I was there another 3 years, I would be, by the time 18 or 17, I should have been sent to Afghanistan. And that's where the war was at that time. Needless to say, but it's very possible to send individuals towards Kashmir. It was a very hot topic even at back then. It was a very boiling situation in 1990. So it was very possible. Individuals could be sent anywhere, and even right now today. Hadi, what's interesting. Even today, okay, if Pakistan wanted to send, let's say, 5 million Jawan, okay, Jawan means young age, individuals to go and fight for Kashmir, there there's no brain. They're trained. You have to remember that 2005 things slowed down, a little more like 2004 and 5. But the brainwashing already occurred. And if you go watch any channel or even YouTubers at the YouTube channels, and you will see them at the public with the hate and anti-sentiment that they have towards India. So it's very easy for Pakistan to collect a large number of people to come and fight on behalf of Islam or Pakistan. And this is where India should be careful. This is where India should be careful because it's the mentality right now. This generation, and maybe for another 20, 50 years, people are still in that same scenarios of 1990s and saying things like Kashmir belongs to us, Kashmir banega Pakistan, and
So,
they always
uh,
feel and like to feel that this is our part.
hmm. So when you were in the madrasa, did you hear any of these slogans? Kashmir banega Pakistan.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, I was always a pro Pakistani Kashmir. I'm sorry, I have to admit something, and that's because I lived in that area, and that's what they taught me, and that's what I understood from them that Kashmir belongs to Pakistan. Unfortunately, it's the misunderstanding, it's a teaching, and if you're not outside the box, you're not getting out of the country, you're not seeing geopolitics or real good news because everything else is controlled. Then you wouldn't know, right?
okay, just speak a little louder because your voice is kind of really down right now. Just a little more throaty would do. I think we'll be able to hear you properly. So tell me, I mean, the situation
No.
inside these guys, and how does it go for some kid who's there in the madrasa to go from there to joining one of these terrorist groups? How does it kind of transpose? How does it go? What is the procedure like? Do these guys come and select people from there? Do these guys pick up the best of the guys, or what is it? I mean, what is that? It's like a
Well, the selection of individuals depends on where the kid's standing and how much of information the kid grasps and how emotional they are. They call it jazba. Um, and not asking so much questions. You know, you hear something, you say, "Okay, start." That's it. You understand. And when they select specific individuals from madrasas, they don't want to select individuals who have parents, guardians, somebody who takes care of them. They would rather select
we
individuals
are
who have
cracking
no
up.
parents.
We are cracking up. We are cracking up completely. It's completely gone. Uh, do you want to try taking off these things and try again so that we can figure it out? It's really, really cracking up.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Uh, no,
I'll
it's
take it.
kind. Yeah. Just give us a second, guys. We'll figure this out. We'll try and because it's very important, and he's been kind enough to actually share his life experience, which is not, trust you me, guys. This is something that I've been reading about, right, for a long time, and it's not something that you can find on the internet. People don't write about it. People don't talk about it. It's to know the dark underbelly of these areas is very critical for us to understand because we in India sometimes kind of mess it up in terms of a basic understanding of what's happening in that region. Yeah. So as I was asking you, you know, you heard these slogans in the madrasa, you heard all this stuff which was happening, and you spend a small amount of time there. But what do you think happens? How do these kids land up into the terrorist organizations, as you were just talking? So please continue.
So, first and foremost, once you know and identify the kid, you know that this kid has no guardian. There's no parents watching him, no one responsible. And obviously, there is a location for these madrasas where there's rooms, food, everything provided, and very much for like parentless or kids. We call them yatims, and kids from war zone like Afghanistan. There's so many of them, and once you know that there is nobody behind them, then this is where your part starts. This is where you put all the load on one kid and making sure this kid understands everything, um, and eyes closed, accepts it. Um, and then from there, once it goes into training to be whatever militia or organization it may be, because there's not one, there's a couple of them. And then the rest is history. But selecting children and sometimes even um, kidnapping happens. You know, a kid being kidnapped from certain area, being sold. This also happens. But um, the era that I grew up, it was mostly Afghan, um, mostly generations of parentless Afghans my age, and they could be Taliban now. Maybe I have been with kids right now that are probably in Afghanistan, grown up old men, my age, getting white gray hair. Give me one second. Let me just close the window. Sorry.
Yeah. Uh, that's crazy. I mean, you can imagine, one can only imagine the kind of mindset that they're trying to instill into a child to do what it needs to be done. But did you kind of have, like, for example, you know, in I've heard that these madrasas get experienced terrorists to come and talk to the children and tell them about their experiences and stuff like that. Do you think it's did you ever see something like that, or you know, an experienced terrorist who's done these kind of activities, who came to your school, spoke to the children and did stuff like that?
From my memory, I don't recall because the way you explain it from the terrorist, how we identify a terrorist with having an AK-47, a turban. No, it's not like that. They'll come to you in a normal, proper Muslim dress and or just shalwar kameez. Yeah, they might have. Everybody has turban or a topi, and they probably select and watch every children, and they watch children how they talk, right? How they communicate with other kids, and the ones that are really calm and very by themselves and lonely, they're easy target. The kids that are the most lonely individual in that school is the target, uh, and especially if there is no parents involved, even better. It's when I talk about it, I talk about it normal, but as you mentioned, it's scary for individuals, even Indians, to imagine how the whole thing can occur. How can this thing happen? Um, Very vivid memories here and there that I have, which I don't want to talk about right now.
Understandably. But you know, your time in the madrasa was pre 9/11, right? Nine
Yes,
eleven came by. When that happened, what went through your mind?
when that happened, I was not there. I was in the West. I was in North America, and
Yeah, but what went through your mind? Because, you know, everybody said Afghanistan and Afghanistan, Pakistan, and you were there. So what kind of.
I didn't believe that 9/11 was done by individuals or people that I was with. I didn't believe in that, and that was my original belief uh, that this didn't happen. Because coming over, crossing the sea, and how the tarbiyah, what they call it, the education that they might have to be that smart to hijack an airplane and made the mission. It was unbelievable for me. Now, when I think about it, uh, you read stuff, you watch, the whole news is out there at your fingertips, from conspiracies to inside job to dirty oil politicians, all being involved. It's better not to go at 9/11 right now because the subject is really tough.
Yeah, I mean, but as a person, when you see something like that, you kind of have, gosh, you know,
I wasn't that shocked, but yeah, I
yeah,
was shocked in the fact that they were blaming the terrorists for it.
I can understand that. I can understand that. So, what happens to this whole system? This is done right in the open under the clear blue sky in Pakistan. There is no like a hidden camp somewhere, or it's just in the middle of cities. Where were you? You were in Peshawar, or you were in,
No,
you know,
it was amongst the public. It was everything is in the public. You go to madrasa, it's normal. Um, uh, Madrasas are everywhere. It's totally normal, like a normal school. And if you do a research, you probably find this out that a large number of madrasas are operating in Pakistan. Maybe and before 1979, I think I read somewhere maybe there was 8,000, maybe 5,000 madrasas, 5 to 8,000, and now it's close to 40,000 before 2021, I think. And they're all madrasas, and each madrasa has at least 2,000 to 5,000 children, and it could be big.
oh
Yeah, because the education system in Pakistan is different. It's not like India. You have private schools, very good private schools too in Pakistan, um, but those are for the elites. You gotta have that money. But for regular people, the public school is just it's not there almost. There's no sometimes. So the madrasas are good. They're getting some money. They used to get money from.
man, that kind of leaves me speechless. But I mean, the it's quite a one has to fathom this thing first because and I think I got the title of the show right, the Jihad Factories of Pakistan. It's something really funny. Now, I want to ask you, when you were there, did you see anybody else apart from the Pakistani army, Pakistani, you know,
Pakistani army would not walk around with their uniform. They would just
Mhm,
be normal average, and army would not be involved. To be honest, it's more the ISI agents.
mhm.
They're more involved into these kind of stuff. Not, I don't think. I personally don't think it's the army. Army almost never goes into these places. If they do, people, they get worried. They want to know what's going on. But it's the ISI, and they have big hands. If I could remember, in the city of Peshawar alone, you would probably find 10,000 muhabbarats, right? Easily, and they're individuals who work for ISI, and they get money, and money means, hey, 10 rupees, sorry, 100 rupees, 1,000 rupees, 500 rupees for a small amount of money. People are poor. They don't get that kind of money, a monthly salary kind of idea. They just reporters, and they work for one or two individuals, and they're loyal. And they, whoever goes into the mosque, whoever comes out of the mosque, what happens inside, what happens outside, everything is managed and controlled. Um, as far as I remember in Pakistan, it was a controlled environment. And even today, it's a very controlled environment. Even right now, as we're talking, it's a controlled environment. And Pakistanis know that too. There are, Pakistan loving individuals. There are people loving individuals. And there's good and bad in everybody and everywhere.
That's amazing, man. I mean, when you figure out, so where do you think the funding comes for all these things? Do they collect it from the people? Do they kind of get, you know,
Nowadays, I don't know. Nowadays, if anything, it's probably United States. I don't like to say that openly, but if anything. The bigger powers, the bigger superpowers, who are involved in the politics of the region. But in the past, it was 100% uh, Westerners, uh, if I could say. Uh, the big hands would be from United States, and then a few other small countries like Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and a few other poor countries as well. But that was the war of the 1990s and 1980s. It was it was uh, it was a good deed to do a contribution to a cause that was good for the people of Afghanistan who were fighting to say that we want freedom, and it was popularized by the Western media, of course, and needless to say, there's movies about it too. And then that's how this whole jihadism uh, phenomena started. And now you can see Pakistan being stuck.
What
And
about
your neighbor,
drugs and stuff like that, illegal activities within these madrasas during, these so-called terrorist camps and stuff like that? I mean, all that is done openly, or is it just kept at the side?
um, it was it's done kept on the side. I would say kept on the side. To the kids or public, they don't like to show that much. If there is drugs or drug trafficking, which is big in Pakistan, big business in Pakistan, from Iran to Afghanistan, from Afghanistan to Russia, and from Russia to Europe, and same thing here. You go from Pakistan to Punjab, and then in India, which uh, which is very close to your border, and that goes into South. So, but if drugs, I would say the maximum. I mean, kids are kids. They don't know drugs, right? Um, the money coming into madrasas, uh, can we relate that to drugs? I don't know. I can't say yes or no to that.
A lot of relations are there with a lot of these madrasas, especially in the Afghan border, with what is known as the Taliban today, right? And when the Taliban took power in what 96, 97 in Afghanistan, uh, they were what 30, 35-year-old boys. They were students basically who did what they did, and they kind of took uh, you know took control of Afghanistan. The So you were basically, Talib is basically a student. So you were basically in that same category of
Yeah,
people that
yeah,
were being trained to take over Afghanistan in the future.
yeah, yeah.
And when you
All
see
kids
the
who went.
Taliban today from what they were before, how do you categorize the Taliban today?
The Taliban today are educated, different from the Talibs that I saw. I would say the olders. The Talibs today are pretty much they are educated in a sense that they got their education from Afghanistan during the Karzai time, during the Ashraf Ghani time, and also being in refugee in Pakistan or India. They're educated. They're not Taliban of 1990s. That I could say. That I can for sure say to you, even with you know writing it down as a guarantee that they're educated. So that's one difference.
So the Taliban of that time, were they totally anti-India, and today, do you think there is a difference?
Yes, um, very anti-India, extreme level. And today, Taliban are different. It has to do with what happened after 9/11, when Pakistan decided to change hands, and the people who had so much trust in Pakistan, in its establishment, in its politics, and the same individuals who would hand them the money, hand them the food, uh, uh, you know, um, and now those same people are going against you, uh, and it breaks your heart, obviously. So these people were, I could say, heartbroken. They don't have trust broken. Trust to Pakistan is not the same as it was before. That I can say for sure.
Gosh sakes, I mean, it's so funny, and it's such a dangerous sort of a scenario where you when you even think about it. Here is a country which is producing these kind of people, and you know, to do what? To do to do, you know, to kill people. In no simple words, there is no way else that you can explain it. The the last thing after that, let's take some questions from the audience as well. The whole anti-Bharat thing. How do you think that is? What do you think it is? When you look at Pakistan today, where do you think Pakistan stands about this whole anti-Bharat game? A lot of people would like us to believe that Pakistan is changing. I don't believe it. Your take.
Um, I like to believe that Pakistan is going to change because I have seen some great people in my life. I've seen some bad people. I like to believe, and there's obviously good and bad everywhere, as I said before. But no, it's not the Pakistan. The Pakistani people are people like you and me. Um, it's not the people. It's the mentality. It's the concept of it. It's the flag. It's what Pakistan stands for. It's the whole establishment. Even if somebody goes and reads history since 1947 and onwards going this way, what happened? What did Muhammad Ali Jinnah did to go and approach the United States of America and say, hey, we can help you when the Russians are coming, right? So the establishment, if, I don't think the time is there for us to even go in there. The establishment won't allow it. There's no room for um, pyar mohabbat with Bharat. Uh, um, it's like a cancer. It needs to grow. It needs to bake. It needs to open its wings. One side should be Bengal, and another side should be, you know, Afghanistan. It's I don't know about Afghanistan. I don't have because from looking at the establishment and the way they are always the Indian sentiment that was always there. Their only enemy is Bharat. So when the core, the foundation of this state is made out of blood, out of people's blood, just to make a country, what are you going to take the future out of that? What do you think the future will be? Do you think that you will have a neighbor that will be nice to you? I'm just saying, like, just look at the history. What happened? The history tells us so much stuff. And I don't think another 40, 50, 60 years will fix this. The whole 3 or 4 generations need to be washed up again. And, only then perhaps maybe there's a chance. But until then, I don't have any hopes for that. And you have to remember that because of I hint that already happened is in the mindset of new generation, new kids. That it needs to happen again, or has not happened. It has to happen. You take it where you want it. Ghazwa Hind is a very scary situation, and being a Muslim myself, Alhamdulillah, I am. Do I believe that it already happened? I believe that it already happened. We were Indians. I mean, at part of it at least, or some of us at least, um, or the state of Kabulistan itself was until even 1,000 years ago at least before Mongolian invasion, and predominantly Hindu, and that whole
Yeah,
Kabul.
obviously this is at the end of it. This is the entire thing is known as today the Indian subcontinent. So that is there. I mean, but when you kind of see, for me, the difficult thing to understand, and let me put this out very clearly, the difficult thing for me to understand about Pakistan is, as you said, the mindset. Uh, on the face of it, they look like idiots. Let me say that very clearly, and the Pakistanis know my feelings about them. You look at their discussions, you look at their discourse, you look at their writings, it's absolutely idiotic. I mean, no sane set of people will behave the way that Pakistanis behave. No sane set of people will do that. It's just not going to happen. I don't buy it. I don't agree with it, and it's not something that is normal, because what they're doing is crazy. It's stupid. But the funny thing is, they find ways to justify each one of their actions,
Every time.
right? Every time.
Yeah, every time. Whatever happens, you know, whether it's sports, politics, cricket, whatever you want to call it, they have to have. It's just the way the society was brought up was to ignore facts. You know, when I have this discussion with one of my Muslim brother from Pakistan, and I'm sorry, I no offense to anybody who does this, and I used to say to him, listen, this Muhammad Ali Jinnah used to drink alcohol. He
Yeah.
used to eat
He used to eat pork.
he used to eat pork, and he's a very good Muslim, and he was like, no, 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 I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to
He
hear it.
married a Parsi girl,
Yeah, yeah,
a 19-year-old
and if
Parsi girl,
that's
when he
your
was
belief,
what, 45, 50.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And what was his character? What did he do for the first 40, 50 years of his life? He was where? He didn't even speak proper Hindi. Today we call it Urdu, right? He couldn't speak proper Urdu. Um, he had to learn how to speak and write Urdu. Think about it. When you have a country that is made with false, or imaginary thoughts, what are you gonna make that of that? It's a man-made creation at its best, considering the borders and considering everything else. I mean, all the countries are man-made. I hope it doesn't go that way. But when you look at Pakistan specifically, since 1947 until now, what was it before? It was just Bharat. It was just India,
Yeah.
and how the world is supported, continuously supporting Pakistan just to stand another rock on the way of India. Just another rock, a big rock that you can't move it, you can't kick it, you can't do anything with it. It's right on your way. What are you gonna do? And it's taking up more space as well.
Damn, that's. Let's get into what the audience is saying, guys. Please like this video, share it. I know the audience, the audio is a bit off, but the kind of information that he shared with us is something that I don't think we've heard before. Uh, we know this stuff, but to hear it from someone who's been there in that system puts a whole different perspective to things. And he was lucky, and thank his stars that he got out of that
I'm lucky
area
that
with
I
his
got
family.
out. Yeah,
Yeah.
but and for Indians, it should not be a worrisome. The Taliban 2.2 that's here right now. I don't know how it's gonna go in the world stage, but you bet these people are very smart now. They're not the same. You can't fool them again. Pakistan cannot fool them again, and it's a great opportunity for India to step up. I'm
Yeah,
just saying.
absolutely. I mean, I've been saying this. As a matter of fact, we talk about Afghanistan very often, and I am very pro doing business with them. There's no issues as long as they behave themselves. That's perfectly all right, and they seem to have been. As a matter of fact, they are pretty clear with uh, Indian interests. They're talking about, they're protecting. They've not kind of had any of these groups. There has
You know
been
what
no
was
intelligence
shocking to me?
reports.
What was
Yeah,
shocking to me was when they announced that all the properties and land that the Hindus and Sikhs had, and it was being occupied forcefully by the Mujahideen, by the way, and they are handing them back as
yeah,
long as they have proof, even a picture. So there's a lot of people out there who lost their properties, and now they're going back and they say, "Hey, this was my property. This was my land," and it's not a requirement that you go and live there, but now they can sell it and they can make money out of that, or they can just keep it and rent it. So that was what shocked me too. That it's a good move.
So, guys, like, subscribe, and let's kind of, get this. And this is what one person says. Praveen says, amazing piece of information. This is more of bringing confirmation to what all we've known, assuming, or heard since a long time about Pakistan and its Muslim population there. They see, the problem is that once they interpret the whole game, and in the way that they've interpreted it, that life has no value. And the way recently terror attacks have happened in Kashmir, it just surely tells you life has no value. And they targeted Hindus when they were going on a pilgrimage to hit. It's it's sick, but it's what it is.
It's it's disgusting. I've been to Afghanistan many times. Came back, you know, before Taliban 2.2, and even after. I've seen some gruesome stuff, and even recently, what's happening out there, it's very gruesome. It's nasty. War is nasty. Killing people is nasty. Um, but what kind of mindset you have to go and able to kill people for no reason other than because your Ustad, your Mufti, your Imam, your Molana said because they're wearing a turban or they're because they're Sikh or because they're Hindu. I don't understand that. And thanks to Almighty God, Alhamdulillah, I should say, it's not the same thing in India. That I don't think that's happening in India because I did have a friend of mine, a very close friend of mine, um, uh, and he goes and comes back from India, and he's Afghan. He says no, in because he's been in Pakistan and India. He says it's different. It's different. India is different. Indian Muslims are different. India's society is different. Yes, they have their problems. They have their internal problems. We should not get into it. It's not our business. It's whatever matter they have. It's their own problem. But it's not similar the way it is in Pakistan. Pakistan is totally different. It's a totally different society. Your society is way better. I can tell you that because you have Muslim, Sikh, and Hindu walking in the same street, and you're buying and you're shopping, and everything is normal, like you're in the West, like you're in any country, and your neighbor could be a Hindu or Sikh. But over there, oh, surprise, surprise, your neighbor is a Hindu. Well, let's figure something out. Let's do something about it. Then you will have those kind of mobs to come and attack that one family or individual just because that person was, let's say, having a brand new vehicle or they have a brand new motorcycle and whatever. So this is part of the racism that is normal in Pakistan, and due to the fact that they are the minorities and they're looked down upon.
I mean, can one imagine? Soyash ji and Srinivas Rao ji, thank you so much for becoming members. Partha Saab, he asks, have you ever experienced any Western connection aid to forge in the madrasa? How do you see the US aid to Pakistan for gender studies? Thoughts on MBS?
Um, Gender studies. It's funny. Uh, in Pakistan, right? Uh, U.S. aid to Pakistan. Well, U.S. aid to Pakistan is very interesting because the U.S. Used to have these shipping containers of um, aid, but I specifically remember this one. It's in my memory fresh. I remember going to a place with my uncle, and they said they have clothes coming in, and these clothes are for people with special cards that they have to have United Nation, and then these clothes are dispensed to those individuals who are in need. I said, well, let's go get some clothes, and they're not bad. They're just secondhand. Sometimes they even have their tags on, and the ones that have tags on, they're separated by the people, and they sell it in a different container to a merchant who goes back to the market. That I've seen with my own eyes. That I cannot lie to you. And that was one example. And then when the U.S. is sending aid to Pakistan, these aid does not go to public. It does not go Pakistani people, the poor people. It goes to the generals, it goes to the military, it goes to the ISI agents, it goes to the individuals who are running the establishment. not even a penny is spent properly for the people of Pakistan or the civilians. And that's for sure. That I can say for sure.
Can you freaking imagine? Anti SWLA, thank you so much for this question. He says, Mohammed Bhai, is there any chance of de radicalization anytime in the future in Pakistan? And what is the situation in Afghanistan on this? By the way, yeah, the last question asked you about your thoughts on MBS, if you
Oh,
want to
yes.
talk about. Yeah.
Um, I have I have read things about him. I've watched some of his moves. Um, I'd like to say that he wants to put himself as an open-minded person. So right now, everything that you see is happening in Saudi Arabia is the image of MBS, and he wants to create that image because he is going to be the next king. So it is a lot more to learn. I think we're gonna have to wait for that. That's my thought about MBS.
Okay. The next one is about this de radicalization in Pakistan. Do you think that is even possible?
As long as there's India, there's no de-radicalization.
That was brutal. That was brutal. That was brutal.
I'm so sorry.
No, no, no. That was brutal in the sense that's the brutal truth.
Yeah.
We understand
Um,
that. We know that in India. By the way, we are ready tooth and nail to fight that. Uh,
this
worst,
is this is
I mean, I'm saying this in wide
de-radicalization.
open domain. If it comes to that, I am going to be there in the front fighting for my country. I am sorry. There is no ways.
I wanted to answer that the way I thought was without hurting anybody and not being sarcastic about it. Also, it's a serious matter. It is. And the next question about Afghanistan: is it possible for Afghanistan to be de-radicalized? Yes, it has a history. It had a history from 19th century, early 19th century, and um, you have to ask the question why Afghanistan is radicalized. You have to go back why it is, and then once you know why it is, and if the why part is not there anymore, question is, do we still have radicalization?
I've been told from my sources in Afghanistan is that they have literally stopped political Islam um, in the madrasas there, and that's the
Good.
same thing. What's his name? MBS is also done in Saudi. They have banned complete study of political Islam. They've said this is not going to happen. We are not going to do this. So you learn Islam, fair enough, but there's no politics going into it.
Yeah.
So all the Ghazwa and this and that goes off the window.
Why not learn Quran? Why not learn the way of Quran? Why not open the book and read and tell people what it means and make them understand and translate for them? Don't just something like they're reading and they're reading and they're reading and they don't know what it says and they don't know the histories behind that. A lot of these talibs from madrasas who are young, they don't know the meaning of it. They understand Quran, they memorize it for you, but they don't know what it means. And even finding out the meaning, then you have to go to hadith. Islam is when they say it's a religion of peace, it is a religion of peace. But these people have radicalized it to a sense. There's no religion in this world, no religion wants war and bloodshed. There's no religion. There's no such thing as any religion that wants to kill each other. And Islam is a peaceful religion. Alhamdulillah to that. But you have to understand it to be peaceful. And if you don't understand, then you're radicalized easily. And it's very easy to take out one or two words. Those one or two words that you take out from the context, it's for your self defense. It's not for going and killing mass people. You kill one soul, you kill the whole humanity. That's how Quran puts it in.
What was the background of these students that you were with?
Um, I would say 90% Afghan immigrant refugees. 90% refugees, or 95%. I like to say
So
95. The
any
the
other
five
country apart from
percent that
Afghan, Pakistan? Any other
The
country that
the
you,
5 to 10% were local. I would like to call them Afghan race, the local Pashtuns. Yeah, there is, but that's only 5 to 10%.
okay?
And the chances of one or two Pakistani me being from Punjab being there, but that's
Yeah,
like limited.
that's what the next question is asking. Get students from outside Pakistan or the region. Are there students in these madrasas?
Sorry, say that again. What was the question?
Are there students from other countries in the region? But did you, okay, let me ask you this. Were there any
In
Pakistani
1990s, yeah.
Punjabi, was there any Pakistani Punjabi student with you?
I I I don't not I don't remember any, but I know there was one in another class, but just one or two.
So
But because where the madrasa was located, my
that's
madrasa was
basic
located in Peshawar.
that's basically all Pashtuns.
Yeah.
That's like the weaponization of an entire tribe of people.
Um, yeah, but you have to understand that madrasas are also in Punjab. How many madrasas in Punjab right now? Out
That's
of
there, but
40,000, 25,000 madrasas in Punjab. 25,000. So where I was from, yes, there was no Punjabi, but you can't say there is no radicalized Punjabis. It is the whole thing.
even the most sane voices of Pakistan have a heavy prejudice against India, especially Hindus. Where does this come from? If we just knew that, we'll solve the matter.
I don't
It's
think I can answer that deeply. Uh,
yeah. I can see that in your
because
face. You were like, I don't
because
know.
because the because I don't want to hurt anyone. I don't want to say something savage. Also,
No, no, trust
so
me. We Indians, as let me tell you something about us, right? We've
yeah.
been through this shit, and I'm saying it very clearly. We've been through this shit for a long time. Okay, there were blasts in Mumbai, okay, in a train, right, in 2007. Seven bombs rocked Mumbai's trains. Mumbai's trains are packed always, okay. It happened on a station. I was on that station in another train. Literally 2 minutes after I left, my train left, the train went off. And we were literally standing next to each other.
Mm,
Okay. I've experienced that. The Mumbai attacks, 26/11, right? I won't want to say where I was, but I was within the city in another hotel, by the way. Okay. So you can imagine what the scare was. I was in another hotel when another hotel was getting attacked. And this is another five-star hotel in Mumbai. Experienced it. I know this thing, and trust me, you'll find enough stories here. Enough people who are from Jammu, who are from Kashmir, they've seen a lot.
I believe.
We know what the
I
game
believe.
is. We know what the game is. We know they're out for our blood, but it's not that easy this time.
I don't know the people in Kashmir right now, and I feel sorry for them because there is some radicalization going on, and it had to. After all, Pakistan didn't do what India did to their part of Kashmir. India did development. Pakistan didn't do that, but if they used some of the money, was probably because of those, um, madrasas and the students, and the hate and anti-Indian sentiment is still in some Kashmiris, and that's holding them back. But I've met few Kashmiris, Muslims, and they all would say the same thing. We want to be Azad. Kashmir is land of nobody, and that's from the Pakistan side. I don't know about India side. But if you push them enough into politics, and if they're very educated and they are in the West, then they very openly say, If we're not Azad Kashmir, then we would rather be part of India. And that, for me, makes more sense. Why do you, okay, yeah, if you're not Azad, so you're not. And what are you going to do with another country, another landlocked country? What are you going to do with another landlocked country? For God's sake. We have a landlocked country, my own country. And you can see the situation of all the landlocked countries. What are you going to do? You know, it's really hard, to be a new country between, these countries, and you want to run a system. And you still have Hindus in you, you still have different other religions, plus Muslims, right? Maybe majority might be Muslim, like Pakistan, but why create another Pakistan? Why can't you people just be together? What's the point of creating? What is it? The other one that you Indians have, those Punjabis, what they call them, Khalistanis. What's
Khalistan.
the drama about that? What's the drama about being Khalistani? You guys never had a country. You never had a country. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't want to offend anyone. Maybe I don't know
No,
country
no.
history.
You're trust me, what you're saying is music to a lot of our ears.
Yeah. So it's like you want to be a new country. What's your capital? Lahore? You think Lahore is gonna be for you? Where were you when 50% of Lahore got? Where were you? People either got killed or got kicked out. The blood's on the street of Lahore. And you thinking now that country fully supporting Khalistan movement. Do you think they're gonna hand you over the Makkah of Sikh people? Lahore is the Makkah of the Sikh people. It's the center. It's the most important city, the holy site. If you don't have that, then what's the point of having your country, Khalistan? People should grow up and think. Like go read some history, go read some books, figure out. There's no um, nothing at your hand when you have divide and rule policy in your what do you call it, in your formula.
Yeah.
Divide and
So I'll
rule.
take two more questions. Alien X says, what's your opinion on Pakistan's future? Considering every other week we are seeing a blasphemy case and mob lynching. I don't know if you know this. A poor tourist went to Swat, a Punjabi guy or something, and he was lynched. He was burnt alive for blasphemy.
I I did look at the news, but I didn't read more about it. And it's normal. It's totally normal in Pakistan. Pakistan is going through what Afghanistan went through in 19 if I can remember my father saying 1978, 1976, um, and then because during that time there was no Russian, there was no communism, but there were people who wanted to change the government, and those people were students of Dawood, the king, who supported them to go and study abroad, specifically Russia, and these people coming back with communism, or Leninism, whatever you want to call it, and they had a different idea of how they want to run the country. So Afghanistan went through that, and slowly you're going to see that Pakistan is not going to make it because Afghanistan went through all of that, was not being divided. We're still together. Whereas Pakistan was always divided, and they try to put it together, and it's not going to happen. And we can see how Baluch, Pashtuns from Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, uh, Gilgit Baltistan, Azad Kashmir, what they call it, Azad Kashmir, Indians, and we call it POK. They all want to be independent, and they all want a separation. Everybody wants separation. Nobody wants to be part of this um, uh, imported government or fake establishment or fake country. Um, so yeah, you're gonna see downstream more and more cases, severe probably, but we're gonna have to see what geopolitics will be about Pakistan, because if they want to save Pakistan, they can save Pakistan. They can, yeah. just like 1970s. When India had no friend, only Russia, and that's it. Everybody supported Pakistan.
People are appreciating, all the people that are watching this, appreciating your honesty. So that's right there. Jay's the last comment. So why do Afghans now hate Pakistan?
Well, if 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 why Afghans hate Pakistan? Afghans hate Pakistan, I think, for three main reasons. Number one, the creation of Pakistan. That's problematic because it holds property, land that Afghan people claim. Not the Afghan government, it's the Afghan people. The second reason is that Pakistan, maybe because of the paranoia, but or looking at the situation, um, decided to um, feed more, um, you know, I would say, fire to the fire, or gas into the fire, so that the war can continue, the civil war can continue. I'll give you one example. I was just talking to somebody one of my other social media, and the gentleman was saying that, hey, the Taliban didn't blow up the Buddha. I'm like, why? I know that, but no, everybody says the Taliban blew up the Buddha, the big Bamyan Buddha. No, Talib didn't do it. I know Talib didn't do it, but Pakistan did.
Mullah Umar and his people who were supported, who had given the orders, but
I don't know.
Pakistanis,
There's no proof of that. There's no
yeah,
proof
that's
that they
that's
were.
the story. Yeah, and that's, I was just about to say, this was the story that has been put across by Pakistan. The whole
Maybe, but
narrative
his son
about
is still
Mullah
alive.
Omar, yeah,
The
you
son of
don't know.
Mullah Omar is still alive. The people who were at the administration in 1990s are still alive, and some few people came with few, ammunition and explosive materials, and planted it out, and it was easy to blow it up. You know, because we don't have internet back then, or phone calls. Radio, turn off the radio. Nobody would know what happened in the countryside. So was it the Taliban? Answer this question. Um, no, it's a very, very difficult situation. It's hard to explain. Afghans hate Pakistan uh, now after 9/11. So if before 9/11 it was political, after 9/11 people got emotional. They really hate Pakistan because for what Pakistan continuously does, and even nowadays in their media, they would rather call Afghans namak haram, but they don't know what they did themselves. You call Afghans namak haram, but you guys went and took the money and sold the Talibs, and so many people got killed. And then what did the Americans do? Americans put back the same government that they took out. And every president in the United States would come and say, Talibs are finished, Talibs are finished, Talibs are finished. It's an embarrassing that Talibs are not finished. It's a very big embarrassment. You have 7,000 soldiers killed in Afghanistan. You spend $8 trillion in Afghanistan. And out of 8 trillion, $2 trillion is put aside for these people who fought in Afghanistan. And the number of injured, at least, I don't know if the world record is probably 180, but at least 30 to 40,000 from the United States alone. And they're injured. Some have no arms, some have no legs. What do you get out of that, right? Um, because, and then now Pakistan says, oh, we supported war on terrorism. War on terrorism, everybody supported war on terrorism. India also did. Everybody did. Maybe 78 countries altogether, perhaps even more, from NATO to ISAF to all of these organizations and units. Um, we had contractors, bodyguard contractors, security contractors who got killed. More than 4.5 million people got killed worldwide. because of this war on terrorism started since 9/11. You know, um, the hate of Afghans towards Pakistan, I think, is just a normal human thing. It's just it's just what we humans are. When we see each other, somebody does something behind our back, yeah, we hate them.
I'm sure you've given a lot of us some things to think about with what you've told us tonight. Thank you so much for one actually, having the courage enough to speak. Uh,
No problem.
we are
You
all
guys have
happy that you're out of that mess and you're not there in that mess. At least one life is safe, and that is a good thing. Um, and thanks. I mean, that's all I can say. It's there's a lot he's told us, all of you guys. It's quite heart wrenching. Something that you need to find out. We learned a lot of new things. Thank you so much, and we'll try and get you back, but next time we'll kind of fix the audio a little bit so
I
that
will
people
get
can,
prepared.
yeah, we'll figure that out. But thank you so much for this time,
Thank
and
you for having me.
catch you back.
Thank you.
Namaskar.
Take care.